Hey everyone, welcome to MacReddit. Today I have some fascinating Reddit stories to share with you. Let's dive into them together. AITAH for turning a family argument into a massive situation where my cousin's stepbrother and cousin beat up my uncle. During a family dinner, my uncle Frank, 48, mistreated his daughter Clara, 18, from his ex-wife when she refused to do the dishes. After the dinner, she said she was leaving, but my uncle hid her shoes and phone and refused to let her go until she washed the dishes. I informed Clara's stepbrother and cousin about the situation. They intervened, retrieved Clara's shoes and phone by force, and also slapped my uncle before leaving. Now, my family says I am the AH for turning a family argument into an aggressive dispute. Background: I, 20-year-old male, come from a dysfunctional family. Almost all of my family members are strange, but my Uncle Frank is a raging narcissist, and he is the central character of this story. Yesterday, we had a small family gathering at Uncle Frank's house to celebrate my grandmother's birthday. My uncle and his second wife, Sarah, 47, have been mistreating my uncle's daughter from his previous marriage. I could go on and on explaining everything, but all you need to know is that Clara is innocent. They hate her for no reason. She is a cook working at a restaurant. During dinner, my uncle and his wife treated her like a servant. She cooked most of the food and also served it, and now they were pressuring her to clean up after the meal. Clara had asked her stepbrother, Henry, 28-year-old male, to pick her up after the dinner, but my uncle was insisting that he wasn't going to let Clara leave until she washed all the dishes. Other cousins offered to help, but he insisted that since she made all the dishes, because she did all the cooking, she had to wash them. He then hid her shoes and phone so she couldn't leave. For the first time ever, my mother and other elders were standing up to my uncle and demanding that he let her go home, but he wasn't budging. An argument started, Clara started crying, and was just going to do the dishes, but I was like, nah, no way. I decided to help her, but I didn't know how. Then I got the idea. I knew Clara's stepbrother, Henry, was coming to pick her up. I decided to tell him. He is a nice muscular guy, and I have met him 2 or 3 times. But he is also known for being too aggressive. When he arrived, I went out to his car, and it turns out one of Clara's cousins from her mom's side was also there with him. They asked what was taking so long, and I informed them of the situation and let them in. As they entered the house, Clara's shoes and phone were returned immediately. I stayed outside, and I am not lying when they shouted. It was so loud that the windows were shaking. Her stepbrother and cousin also took a pair of my uncle's shoes, the TV remote, and a few other things just because they could. While leaving, Clara's cousin also slapped my uncle. There was silence all around, and there was no one who could stop or confront Clara's stepbrother and cousin. Now everyone is mad at me. My mother is saying I am an AH because they were trying to get the situation sorted, which is true, and I got Clara's maternal family involved, making things a million times worse now. Clara's older brother, who is also my uncle's son, but couldn't make it to the family feast, has completely disowned his father and is refusing to return a car and lawnmower he borrowed. My family is demanding that I apologize to my uncle and ensure his belongings are returned to him. I don't think I am an AH because it's his fault as he refused to let Clara go, but my sister told me to post here. So, am I the AH? OP is NTA, and if I were there, I should have called the cops when OP's uncle hid his daughter's belongings and was trying to detain her. It is insane. What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story, exclusively for you. It revolves around a son who claims that his parents didn't care or love him in his childhood and wasted all their money on their foster children. I hope you will enjoy it, and don't forget to show your love. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for telling my parents to ask their foster children for financial help instead of me? I, 34-year-old male, refuse to help my parents with money because I believe they will waste it on their foster children, as they have been doing all their lives. My life could have been okay growing up if my parents had not chosen to be good people. When it was time to take care of me, they became foster parents. It was noble of them because those kids needed help. However, the downside was that I was ignored. I received less attention than I deserved, and also less than those adopted kids, because my parents always thought I didn't need help since I had parents, but I don't think I really had. Though they were there, they were not available for me. So it doesn't matter whether I had them or not. Now my parents ask me for money, but I don't want my hard-earned money to be wasted on street children. For context, my parents have been social activists. They were leading volunteer members of many social and welfare organizations, and my mom has even been a volunteer with the World Food Program. It was through social activism that they met each other and later got married. Despite being members of so many organizations, they didn't settle for just anyone because they claimed their way of thinking is different, perhaps unique. They say we should do charity and social work on an individual instead of an institutional level because it reduces the overall cost and you can help the needy with transparency. I don't know what their theory is, but I am trying to tell you that they just said goodbye to the organizations they had been working with and started their own small home-based welfare organization, which consists of 2 members, my father and mother. They take in abandoned children and foster them. When I was a child, my parents had 4 foster children. After them, they had raised many more. I don't remember the number, and I don't care. The point is that due to their obsession with welfare, they forgot their obligatory duty, parenting of their own child, me. I was neglected to the point where my parents completely stopped caring for me, leaving me in the hands of maids and servants. It wasn't just me. Both my maternal and paternal grandparents witnessed my parents' behavior, and they were also fed up with it. Even gifts for me from my grandparents became gifts for the family. You know which family? Those adopted boys and girls. It was really too much, wasn't it? After seeing this, my grandparents put a stop to that by not buying me gifts, but taking me out instead. When my father's dad noticed that my parents were completely ignoring me and things were going beyond the limit, he asked my dad to let me move in with him, and my father agreed. At that time, I was just 12. My grandpa is a genuine person. Not only he, but my grandma and my mom's parents are also very good people. They treated me as if I were their own child. After moving in with my grandpa, everything returned to normal, except for one thing, my longing for my parents' attention. However, they remained busy fostering street boys and girls, and never really cared about me and my feelings. I graduated early and got into a trade. My grandfather was in the union and he got me in. I've been at it for 17 years now, and I'm doing okay, but my parents are not. They ran themselves ragged taking in all those kids. Even the money they got wasn't enough. When they asked me for help, I said no. A big no. I am 100% sure that if I give them money, they will just waste it on the kids they took in after I left. I told them that they had a plethora of foster kids they could ask for money, and that I am not going to hand them even a penny. After hearing this, my mom got angry and said that she was disappointed in me and that she thought she had raised me better. I retorted, "When did you raise me, Mom? It was my grandparents and I who raised me, and you and your husband were absent." Then I asked her, "Do you remember what I liked in my childhood? Do you remember what I wanted to wear and where I wanted to go with you and your husband?" There were many more questions, but I didn't ask because she didn't seem to bear the burden. She was speechless, but not regretful, and perhaps she was thinking about where to get money to waste on those adopted kids. My grandparents are tapped out too, and my parents already owe them so much money. So, my parents could not ask them for help. My wife says she understands how I feel, but thinks I'm being mean. So, AITAH? What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it, and don't forget to show your love. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for refusing to give money for my brother-in-law's honeymoon trip from our emergency fund. Last year, my sister-in-law's youngest daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. They needed to purchase an insulin pump, which was costly. My husband, William, 31-year-old male, and I, 32-year-old female, had some extra money, so we decided to gift them the pump. However, they declined, saying that their health insurance covered it. After around 1 month of this, my brother-in-law, at his wedding, publicly thanked us for funding their luxurious honeymoon trip. We were taken aback as we had never made such an offer. When we asked him what he was referring to, he said that since we were no longer buying the pump for our nephew, he assumed we would give that money to them for the honeymoon. He reasoned that we were planning on spending it on family, and this is the same thing. My husband told him that medical necessities and a honeymoon trip are not the same thing and told him clearly that we are not covering their trip, but he, and later his wife as well, got angry. Background. My husband has a brother, 35, and a sister, 32. His sister has 2 sons. Last year, the younger one, 2, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It has been a significant adjustment, and my sister-in-law and her family have had a difficult time managing his condition. They were considering purchasing an insulin pump to help manage his diabetes, but the issue was that the pump is expensive, with most costing between $5,000 and $10,000, and my sister-in-law and her husband could not afford it. They had been saving money towards it, but are still a while off. My husband and I have 2 young children and couldn't imagine being in their position. So, we offered to pay for the pump. We're not wealthy, but we budget well and always have money set aside. When we offered to buy them the pump, my sister-in-law declined, saying their health insurance covered it. Great, win-win, case closed, or so I thought. About a month after we had offered my sister-in-law the money, my husband's brother married his girlfriend, who unfortunately lost one leg in a car accident. Shortly after the wedding ceremony, we all met up for dinner to congratulate them. It is a custom in my in-laws' family. At the end of the dinner, my brother-in-law stood up to give a speech, thanking everyone for their support. Everything was going normally, until he turned to my husband and me, and thanked us for helping to pay for their honeymoon trip. We were both taken aback, but didn't say anything during his speech. However, after his speech, we pulled him aside and asked him what he was referring to. He explained that he heard that we had offered to pay for the pump, which we were now not doing. Therefore, we have a spare $10,000, and so we should cover their honeymoon. He reasoned that we were planning on spending it on family, so spending on the pump or their honeymoon is the same thing. We were stunned to hear this from him. My husband told him that it was not the same thing at all. An insulin pump is a medical necessity, and a honeymoon trip is hardly the same thing. My brother-in-law got mad and accused us of favoring my sister-in-law. He said that we were willing to part ways with the money before, so he didn't understand why we wouldn't now. I told him we were only going to spend the money on the pump. Otherwise, it would stay in our emergency fund. He called us selfish and left, saying he was disappointed with us. After leaving the event, we received texts from other family members siding with him and pressuring us to contribute to the honeymoon costs since his partner can't. I'm sure we didn't do anything wrong, but these messages are making me doubt. So, AITAH? I don't think OP is an AH. Instead, her brother-in-law is an AH, a big one for trying to get money for his luxurious honeymoon from the emergency fund of the OP's family. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. Am I the AH for not inviting my father to my son's birthday party because my mom doesn't like him? A little background to the story. 3 years ago, my parents went through a messy divorce after my mom caught my father cheating on her. After some heated arguments and fights, they ended up separating, and they are not on speaking terms. After the divorce, my mom didn't remarry. However, my father did, with the girl he was cheating on my mom with. Due to my father's behavior, all my siblings also don't have any relationship with him. I am the only one who has a relationship with both my father and mom. Fast forward to now. My son's birthday was approaching, and he asked me if he could have a birthday party. I was surprised as I didn't expect a 4-year-old to want a party, but I decided to throw one because my boy was continually insisting. So, I hastily invited some of his friends and my mother, who lived nearby and could come on short notice. However, I didn't invite my father to the party because I didn't want to spoil the party. And if I had invited him, my mom would not have attended, as she doesn't like my father and does not attend any event my father is invited to. The party was enjoyable, and my son had a blast. I captured the moments and shared them on social media. When my father saw the photos, he sent me a lengthy text. I won't post it here since it's rather lengthy, but the gist of his text is that he felt hurt that he wasn't invited to the birthday party, was upset because I didn't attend his wedding, and that my mother has poisoned me against him. Not only this, he warned that he wouldn't tolerate being treated this way any longer, and hinted at potential consequences. I was confused after seeing such emotional messages from my father. I explained that I couldn't have him and my mom over at the same time because I didn't want any drama at my son's birthday party. I suggested that he could come over on a different day to give my son a gift, Regarding his wedding, I expressed discomfort attending and explained it was a personal decision. I also mentioned that I didn't appreciate the consequences talk and reminded him that I am the only child who still communicates with him. On a side note, I'm not even sure what the consequences would be. I'm a self-made man. It sounds cruel to say, but the reality is that I don't really need my parents for anything anymore. He could exclude me from his will, but I never expected to receive anything anyway. I'd consider it a stroke of luck if I didn't inherit his debts. Anyway, in short, I told my father that he can't be at the house at the same time as my mom unless he resolves things with her. He needs to make things civil with her if he wants that to change. Until then, he has to attend separate family gatherings. He felt like I was taking sides, and we argued in circles about his previous positions for a while. But I said this is the only option if he wants to be invited to all family functions. However, he continued insisting that I must arrange a separate party in which only he and his relatives are invited, and none from my mom's side. I hung up the call saying, "Let me think about it." Honestly speaking, I am tempted to do what my siblings have done and cut him out of my life. But at the same time, I want him to have some kind of relationship with his grandchildren. I am just confused. So, am I the AH for not inviting my father to my son's birthday party? And should I throw another party for my son so my father can attend? OP is an AH because he took sides with his mom, and he should have invited both his parents to the party, not just one. OP, be a real man. Your father seems to be emotionally broken because all his children have cut him off from their life, and now you are thinking of doing the same. You need to communicate with him and try to sort things out between your mom and dad. My opinion. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for not waiving child support payments for my ex-husband who is a cancer patient. My ex-husband, William, 32, and I, also 32, were married for 10 years. 4 years ago, my ex told me he wanted to end our marriage because he was no longer interested in me and had fallen in love with another woman, Brielle, 29-year-old female. It was devastating, but I had to accept it because I didn't have another option. After the divorce, my lack of professional experience became a challenge. Throughout our marriage, my ex-husband had been the breadwinner, and I was a stay-at-home mom, completely dependent on him and his family. During the divorce proceedings, the court ruled that my husband would pay child support because his income was much higher than mine. He has been paying it for the last 4 years. Last month, my ex-husband was diagnosed with cancer, and now he is asking me to temporarily stop taking child support so he can focus on getting treatment. Background. Both my ex-husband and I come from conservative religious families. However, we were not religious ourselves. Despite this, we remained under the influence of our families, and our lives took shape in the shadow of their values. My ex's family is wealthy, but I belong to a middle-class family. Our families were acquainted because my father and my ex's father were school friends, and because of this, a familial connection had developed between the two families. At the age of 18, right after graduating from high school, we got married at the insistence of our families. We were both too young to handle the responsibilities of marriage and parenthood, but we went ahead to please our families. After getting married, I tried to pursue online education while looking after our children, but my ex-husband and our families were strongly against it. They were adamant that I should not work outside the home, just like the other women in our family. Feeling disheartened, I had to give up on my education. My ex-husband was expected to be the breadwinner, while I was expected to be a stay-at-home mom and look after our children. My ex joined his father's company, and after just 4 years, he reached the corner office. My duty was to give birth to children, and I also did my job well, giving birth to 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. In the conventional sense, our marriage was going smoothly. However, after 10 years, my husband told me that he was no longer interested in me and had fallen in love with another girl, and that he wanted to end our marriage. I was horrified to hear this because, on one hand, my husband had decided to end our marriage unilaterally, and on the other hand, I was envisioning a dark future ahead because I had no source of income of my own, no job experience, and was completely dependent on my ex and his family. The next day after announcing the end of our marriage, he moved in with his girlfriend. No one objected to his move. All of his family's religiosity and values proved to be a lie. My family didn't want the end of our union. They wanted to reconcile, but there was nothing they could reconcile on. There was no dispute, no argument, nothing. The end? Our divorce was messy. My ex-husband's family didn't want him to owe me anything, but I requested the court to grant me alimony until I could find stable employment, and the court accepted my request and bound my husband to pay it. After a few short-lived jobs, I did find a stable job, and the alimony stopped. However, I will never earn as much as him. Regarding the children, the court decided that the children would live with their mother, and my ex would cover all the expenses because my income was much lower than his. So, my ex had to give me a handsome amount as child support to maintain the living standard of our children, the one they had before the divorce. I am grateful for the support that enables me to provide for my children and save for their future. Recently, my ex was diagnosed with stage 1 thyroid cancer. Following this diagnosis, my ex requested the court to waive child support payments for 2 to 3 months, stating that he could not afford it due to undergoing expensive medical treatment for cancer. After reviewing the medical reports, the court denied his request based on the fact that stage 1 cancer is easily curable and that his income was high enough that he could easily afford the treatment, and there was no need to cut off the child support payments. After the court's ruling, he approached me seeking temporary relief, but I declined. I am sure he is not going to die of this cancer, and he can comfortably afford treatment for it, even stage 4 cancer. However, the exemption of child support payments would affect our children's well-being, and I am not ready to compromise on it. When his wife came to know about the refusal, she said how uncharitable and greedy I am, and that I was being an AH? But I don't think I am. So, am I an AH? I think OP is not an AH. Rather, her ex and his family are AH. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. Today I have a very sad story to share from Reddit. A gay man had been helping his friend and his fiance for years, but they didn't invite him to their wedding simply because he is gay. This exclusion left him disappointed in their friendship. And now, instead of apologizing, his friend expects him to continue helping them the way he used to before their wedding. I hope you will enjoy the story, and don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for refusing to help a friend who didn't invite me to his wedding simply because I am gay? For the past 11 years, I, 37-year-old gay man, have been close friends with Henry, 38-year-old male. We met in our mid-20s at work and used to hang out regularly with a group of mutual friends. However, in the last 2 years, our social interactions have declined, but we still keep in touch. Perhaps they are going extinct soon. Henry and his fiance, Camila, a 36-year-old female, recently got married. They both have children from previous relationships, so they often take them on trips nearly every year. While they were away, I used to visit their home to check on things and take care of their animals. In addition to this, I helped them with their office projects multiple times. Most recently, during a snowstorm, I picked up Henry's fiance from the airport as she was returning from a work trip. About 5 weeks ago, I learned from a mutual friend that their wedding is approaching, and invitations were sent out some time ago, with everyone in our circle invited except for me. As a gay man, I have encountered exclusion from some of my straight friends' lives and events in various ways, but this particular instance has prompted me to reconsider how I prioritize my relationships. I have chosen to take the hint and begin to distance myself. After their wedding, Henry texted me, asking if I would be available in early to mid-August. I replied, yes, I am. Then, he asked if I wouldn't mind visiting, as I had done before, to look after the animals and property, because he and his wife were going on honeymoon. I responded, sorry, I can't. He called to discuss it further. We had a polite but slightly tense conversation, so I eventually said, I won't be able to visit your home, and after a moment of silence, I mentioned that I was disappointed to realize that I seemed to be the only person in our group of friends who was invited to their wedding, and that I couldn't continue helping like I had before if I was just a background friend. I ended the call on a positive note, sincerely wishing them a wonderful trip and suggesting that we should catch up over drinks soon. In the evening, Henry's wife reached out to me, saying Henry was upset about what I said. She explained that I was taking it the wrong way and said that they didn't invite me due to limited capacity, and that the other members of our friend group group have partners who also needed space. While she was trying to clarify things, I was thinking that she would finally apologize to me for not inviting me, but she didn't. Instead, she said she hoped I would reconsider and assist them in looking after their animals and property while they were on their honeymoon. This last sentence of hers left me stunned, and I felt too much humiliated, but I didn't say anything to her and saw her off. Later on, I messaged her, saying I was not going to help them anymore, but I didn't get any reply. However, in the evening, I got a message from Henry, "You are an AH." The message added to my humiliation. When I am not entitled to the company of others or invitations to anybody's events, should I not set my own boundaries? And if I do, am I an AH? OP is not an AH, instead his so-called friend and his friend's wife are. If your friends need someone to look after their animals and property while they're on their honeymoon after a wedding you weren't invited to, they must have asked someone else. I am stunned such nonsense people exist. I believe in reciprocating the same level of effort in a friendship as you receive. What OP did is absolutely right. What do you guys think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for telling my wife that her business is a failure and suggesting she get a job to support our family. My wife, Carol, 38-year-old female, and I, 40-year-old male, have been married for 10 years and have 3 kids. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and she has been since we had our first baby. I work a full-time job and earn enough that we live an okay life and also have some savings. We lead a modest lifestyle and are careful not to overspend. While we don't live paycheck to paycheck, we also cannot afford to go on vacations, wear designer items, or eat at expensive restaurants. Crafting has been my wife's hobby for years. Last year we decided to take it as a side hustle, hoping it may help us financially. However, we were unable to execute our plan due to my wife's pregnancy, so we started working on it 4 months ago. My wife has been feeling stressed because we have an 8-month-old baby, and our older kids are also at home. To make things easier for her, I rearranged my work schedule so that I can be at home most of the time and help my wife with keeping the household, and so that she could have time for focusing on crafting. She has a dedicated room for crafting and sells items to different boutiques as well as directly to customers. However, we have not made any profit yet, and I feel like she spends more time, money, and effort shopping for materials than actually crafting. It seems like she still treats crafting as a hobby rather than a serious business, and this venture has become a white elephant. I was fed up with this venture, but I decided to wait for some more time. Last week was very busy at work, and I couldn't help out at home during the day. My wife told me she needed more support and asked me to find ways to give her breaks. I tried to explain things, but she continued insisting that I should focus on our side hustle. So, I finally told her clearly that my job is crucial for our finances, and that her crafting has not brought in any money in the last 4 months, and I don't think it would in the near future. After hearing this, she became angry and expressed that I was underestimating her abilities. I told her that I didn't doubt her abilities, but I couldn't invest time in a venture that wasn't generating income. But she was not ready to give up on it. She mentioned that she had made money by selling her crafted items and was considering launching a website for online sales. This came as a surprise to me, as she had not previously mentioned any of this to me, but I soon realized that she didn't have any plan for selling her products online, and that she was saying all this to persuade me to continue helping her. However, I made it clear that I was not interested in joining her on this venture. This decision upset her, and she said, "Why can't you see things from my perspective?" I didn't want to argue with my wife, so I decided to tell her through stats that her adventure was a failure, and she didn't need to waste her time on it anymore. I asked her to provide me with the exact amount of money she earned from selling the items, and then checked our recent credit card statement to see how much she had spent during the same period. Despite selling the items, she had spent around $4,000 more than the income. When I asked what it was, she said that the same material cannot be used for every project, and she had to buy new material for each project, resulting in this loss. I told her that if this was the case, why didn't she increase the selling price? She said that if she increased the selling price, the sales of her items would decrease. I asked her if she had any plan to make this venture profitable. She went silent, indicating that she didn't have a plan. After all this, I told her that she should consider crafting as her hobby, not as a job or business venture, because it is not contributing to our finances, and there don't seem to be any chances of it. I told her that she should start a job to support the family, or at least not waste my hard-earned money on this white elephant, and I also made it clear that I wouldn't invest more time or money into it anymore. Despite I made everything clear, my wife is insisting that I should help her with crafting, and has also involved her mom and sister into it, and they are saying I am an AH for not supporting my wife. So, am I an AH? OP is not an AH because he is doing what he can within his budget. OP's wife needs to understand that a hobby and a business are two different things. If crafting is not generating any income, she should not treat it as a business and should not waste money on it. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. Today I have brought a very interesting Reddit relationship story for you. I hope you will enjoy it, and don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. Feeling distant from my fiance. I am in need of some advice, as I feel lost, and I am afraid of making a wrong decision due to this confusion. I, 32-year-old female, have been engaged to my fiance William, 35-year-old male, for 6 years. During these years, our relationship has apparently survived many downs, but I feel that it has become hollow from the inside. However, my fiance thinks, or at least says, that there is nothing wrong with it, and that I always overthink. He might be right in his own way, but the reality is that I don't feel like I am in a relationship. Instead, I feel stuck or bound. I feel alone, neglected, and sometimes even humiliated when my fiancé shuts me down as if I were a burden on him. We entered into a relationship after around 4 months of our first meeting at the wedding of a mutual friend and got engaged after 2 years. After being together for 2 years, we decided to get engaged and have a baby. I wanted to get married, but my boyfriend was not ready for it. He said he needed some time for marriage, but wanted a baby right then, and I agreed. We got engaged soon, and I conceived within the first 3 months of trying. For the welfare of our baby, we mutually decided that I would be a stay-at-home mom and my husband would provide for us. During the honeymoon stage of our relationship, my boyfriend was always doing exciting things for both of us, taking me on dates and going on trips together. However, over time, we started drifting apart, and now we have completely different personalities. I want fun and adventures, while my fiancé is serious and doesn't find joy in anything. The only thing he does is watch off-road driving videos. Now, I feel like all my interests are always pushed aside as immature. He states there's not enough time to have a date night alone, or he is too tired from work. I don't complain. I understand and acknowledge how hard he works for our family. But at what cost? He used to compliment me at every step, but now he does not even take a look at me when I've dressed up for him. Our sex life is satisfying for him, but not for me. I have asked him for more, but he does not understand and always ignores my needs. I have been asking him for more attention and more intimacy, but he doesn't care. I make sure to take care of all the household chores and responsibilities, from preparing meals to doing laundry, so that my partner can come home to a comfortable and stress-free environment after a long day at work. I do this out of love and appreciation for all that he does for our family. However, I feel like my efforts go unnoticed and unappreciated. I wish he would acknowledge and thank me for all that I do, as it would mean a lot to me. It's the little gestures of appreciation that I crave, not just for the sake of validation, but to feel valued and loved in return. He does not drink, and when I have a glass of wine, I can feel his judgment through his looks and comments like, "That's immature," or "Why do you need to drink?" Even when I'm sad or upset, he dismisses my feelings by saying I need to toughen up, or that it's all in my mind. I haven't been able to share my worries or personal feelings with him for years because of his negative reactions. I often find myself daydreaming about what a happy relationship would be like, where my partner understands me and makes an effort to do things I enjoy. Sometimes I feel I should end this relationship. I am just confused. I need Redditors' advice on this. What should I do? I think OP needs to talk to her fiancé straightforwardly. If OP's fiancé has lost interest in her, she should consider moving on. It's not worth investing time in a partner who doesn't appreciate you. Additionally, there may be some underlying issues that OP's fiancé is facing, so it's important to consider that as well. In simple words, communication is key to a successful relationship. What advice do the Mac Reddit fans have for the OP? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, And don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for kicking my brother out of my wedding after he proposed to his girlfriend during the reception. I, 28-year-old female, recently married my boyfriend James, 31-year-old male. We had been in a relationship for 5 years. We wanted to marry 2 years earlier, but due to budget constraints, we decided to postpone the wedding until we could afford a special, wonderful celebration. After saving for 2 years, we finally tied the knot last week. The wedding was followed by a reception at a lovely venue. Everything was going smooth until my brother, Lucas, 33-year-old male, decided to propose to his girlfriend, 29-year-old female, during our reception. My brother came to the dance floor and asked the DJ to stop the music. Then he announced that he was going to propose to his girlfriend, who was also on the dance floor. He went near her, got down on one knee right in the middle of the dance floor, and proposed to her with a diamond ring. One of his friends ran to the DJ and made him play Cohen's True Companion, and my brother and his girlfriend started dancing. They left the dance floor after around half an hour. It felt like the whole reception shifted from celebrating our marriage to celebrating their engagement. I was stunned and didn't know how to react at first. My husband was also visibly upset. I tried to keep my composure, but couldn't help myself. So, I pulled him aside and told him that what he did was disrespectful and that I had not expected such selfish behavior from him. Then, I asked him to leave the reception to avoid further drama. He seemed surprised and claimed it was a spontaneous act. I said, "Really? You proposed to your girlfriend with a diamond ring, and your friend knew which song to play during your proposal? Was all this spontaneous?" He went silent, and his girlfriend also appeared embarrassed. I told them to leave our reception immediately, otherwise I would have to literally kick him out. Both he and his girlfriend left the reception. Now, my family is divided. Some of them think I was right to stand up for myself, while others think I overreacted and should have just let it go. My brother has since apologized, but I can't shake the feeling of having my special day overshadowed. So, AITAH for kicking my brother out of my wedding after he proposed during our reception? OP is clearly not an AH, but her brother is a big AH for running the reception of his sister on purpose. What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for exposing my classmate's fake charity at our class reunion. During our high school reunion, I, 30-year-old male, exposed my former classmate Henry's charity as a front for siphoning money from donors. In school, Henry was always involved in social activities and talked about joining an international NGO. We all thought he would, but after completing his education, he started a charity of his own to help homeless youth. However, when I saw his luxurious lifestyle, I became convinced that something was fishy. Upon investigating his charity and its working model, I discovered that his charity was a facade for siphoning money from donors. When I confronted him about it, he brushed me off, saying I didn't understand how charities work. At the school reunion, I overheard Henry trying to persuade our former classmates to donate to his charity. This angered me so much that I exposed him and his charity in front of all our classmates. Background. In high school, Henry was always involved in social activities, both within the school and outside. He used to dream of joining an international NGO, and we all thought he would. After graduating, he moved to New York and joined Syracuse University. After completing his studies, he returned to our hometown, Tupelo, Mississippi, and started his own charity that supposedly helps homeless youth. Due to this charity, Henry has become somewhat of a celebrity, and he has been featured in various newspapers as well. Many praise him for his efforts. Along with his charity, he also started a garment factory where he gives employment to those whom his charity helps. Last year, I ran into Henry near his home, It was the first time we had met since high school. He invited me to his home, and I accepted the invitation. When I visited, I was surprised to see his luxurious house. Premium materials, architectural details, impressively sized spaces, magnificent kitchens, elite bathrooms, advanced smart technology, and security. I was just stunned. His house looked like a mini White House. I was convinced on the first day of meeting him that something was wrong, but I didn't bring it up with him. Rather, I decided to dig further. After returning from his home, I delved into the details of his charity and talked to some of his former employees. After a thorough investigation, I discovered that the charity was a front for siphoning money from donors. For this purpose, he was using various tricks and schemes. While his methods may not have been technically illegal, they were highly unethical and contradicted his supposed charitable intentions. He was the central figure in his charity and was taking a huge salary of $300,000, which is more than that of a specialist cardiologist. He also had many of his relatives in his charity who were also receiving hefty salaries. His garment factory was also a means of embezzling charity funds. On paper, he was paying market-competitive salaries to his employees, but in reality, their salaries were very low, and they were living hand-to-mouth in a perpetual cycle where they were earning just enough to be able to come to work the next day. He had many other such schemes to embezzle charity funds. When I learned all of this, I was so disappointed, and I contacted Henry and confronted him and asked why he was doing all this, but he brushed me off saying I didn't understand how difficult it was to run a charity and hung up the call. Fast forward to last week, we organized a reunion for all our high school classmates, and Henry also attended. Everything was going smoothly until I noticed Henry persuading some of our classmates to donate to his charity, claiming it was doing great work for the homeless. I was shocked to see this. I tapped him on the shoulder and asked, "What's going on, Gates Jr.?" I then told our classmates what Henry had been doing and why he had become so wealthy overnight. Henry tried to defend himself, but I bombarded him with questions, and eventually he left the reunion. Now, some of my mates say I am an AH for ruining the meetup and publicly humiliating Henry when he was not doing anything illegal, and that I should apologize to him. Henry is also demanding an apology and is threatening legal consequences if I don't comply. However, my other mates say that I did a very good job. Now I am confused. So, am I the AH for exposing Henry? And what should I do further? And I think OP is not an AH. Rather, he did a great job. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is OP an AH or not? And what should he do? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye. See you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. AITAH for refusing to let my drug-addicted stepson, his wife, and newborn move in, and wanting the newborn to be taken away by CPS? Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. I, 64-year-old male, have been married to my wife, Barbara, 62-year-old female, for 23 years. We have no children together, and I do not have any children. However, my wife has 3 children from her previous marriage. I am a successful businessman and generate a substantial income, allowing my wife and me to live a luxurious life. My wife does not work and has never worked, and I never asked her to. I have raised all of my stepchildren and paid for their education, and I have no problem with it. Except for her youngest son, Henry, 27-year-old male, all of my stepchildren are doing very well for themselves and their families, and they are living happy lives. On the other hand, Henry is a drug addict and has been since he was 15. He has been in and out of rehabs, but he is still not clear. He is also a felon and has been in and out of jail all the time, mostly for burglary-related crimes. He dropped out of high school and started a job. However, after just 6 months, he was fired from the job because of his drug addiction, and since then, He has been homeless and constantly jumping from one job to another. I asked my wife not to give him any money, but she went behind my back countless times and gave him money. This led to many fights between us, and finally, my wife agreed to stop helping her drug addict son. However, she is still secretly helping him with small amounts of money. I don't want to argue about it anymore, so I don't say anything. When my stepson realized he wasn't getting enough money from his mother, he started committing burglaries, starting with our house. And because of these crimes, he remains in and out of jail all the time. These days, my stepson and his girlfriend, Amelia, 26-year-old female, live in a non-operational trailer on the side of the road in a crime-ridden city. Recently, we learned that my stepson's girlfriend is pregnant and about to give birth. She is also a drug addict. However, she has been taking Suboxone for the last 6 months. Ever since we learned about the pregnancy, I have told my wife that I will not take any responsibility for her son and his family. I have been very clear about this since day one. Despite my clear communication, my wife seems to have disregarded my concerns and may have assumed she could pressure me into accepting her decision or simply do as she pleases regarding her son and his new family. For the sake of transparency, I admit that I was also an alcoholic when I was young, but I have been completely clean for over 30 years. However, my wife does have an addiction to prescription pain pills, opioids. However, she refuses to admit it's an addiction. She snorts her pills. My stepson had his son today. Miraculously, the baby is completely healthy and showing no signs of dependence so far. She believes they will be released to go home tomorrow. And the social worker at the hospital has informed them that if they do not have a place to go with the baby will be taken away. My wife told me today that she is letting them come live with us for a month until they find housing. She also said that if I say no, she will do it anyway and just divorce me. I told her that we will be getting a divorce then, and I will not allow them into our home, and that if she tried to take custody of the baby, I would tell CPS about her addiction to snorting her prescription pain medication. Here, I have two concerns. First, I don't want drug addicts in my home, particularly because they are not ready to quit it. In this case, they will never move out and would spoil my peace of mind. My second concern is the newborn baby. I want CPS to take the child away. If the child remains with the drug-addicted parents, they would ruin the child's life as well. If my stepson was only a drug addict and was willing to quit drugs, I would help him, but he is also a felon and is in and out of jail all the time. He was just arrested and released the day before his girlfriend went to the hospital to give birth. They only let him out of jail because my wife and his girlfriend went to court and cried and said the only reason he went on a high-speed chase with the police is that he was scared to miss the birth of his child. I don't want drama in my home, so I told my wife that no matter what happens, I would not allow her drug-addicted son and his girlfriend to move in with us. My wife has been very angry with me since then. I am a little bit confused about whether my decision is right or wrong. So, am I an AH? OP is not an AH. It might seem to be harsh, but it is a good decision for the baby. So AITAH, what do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye-bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to Mac Reddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for telling a couple that I'm not their charity case. After the death of my brother James, I, 39-year-old male, am looking after my nephew Liam, 11, and I also have a 4-year-old daughter Anna to feed. This summer, my nephew wanted to go to a sleepaway camp for 6 weeks, but I could only afford 2 weeks, even though there was a 3-week minimum. I talked to the camp and asked them to give me some time to arrange money for the 3rd week. My nephew left last week. The next day, the camp called me and said someone wanted to sponsor Liam for the whole summer, and that I did not need to worry. When I asked who wanted to sponsor, the camp told me that the parents of a classmate of my nephew. Later, I discovered that they were my former employers. They do charity, but I have also heard them saying nasty things about the people they helped. So I decided not to accept help from them. I reached out to them and said my finances are none of their business and I'm not their charity case. Background. Currently, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Our older brother, James, along with his wife Emma and 2 sons, died in a car accident in 2019. All of my siblings are married and have children. Our home state is Houston, but we all live in different states for jobs and other reasons. I currently reside in New York with my girlfriend Eva, 35-year-old female, and we have a daughter. My brother James was living in Houston. He was in the construction industry and was doing well for his family. One day, he, his wife, and all 3 of their sons were traveling to Los Angeles to see our parents. On the way, they had a deadly accident, and all of them died at the site except for my youngest nephew, Liam. He miraculously remained unharmed and didn't even get a scratch. He is the luckiest person I have seen in my life. It was a devastating incident in our lives, and we were all very sad for our brother. After the funeral, my parents suggested that I should take in my nephew because they didn't want him to go into foster care. All my siblings also wanted the same. I didn't have any problem with it, but before taking on the responsibility, I asked my parents and siblings to let me discuss it with my girlfriend. When I discussed, my girlfriend agreed to take our nephew in. So we finally told my parents and siblings that we were ready to take our nephew in. To compensate for taking care of my nephew, my parents and siblings agreed that I should get the house my brother had invested in. The house is rented out, but it incurs a loss of around $400 because the rent is less than the mortgage and other costs. However, it will be worth a fortune when it is paid off. So, now I'm basically paying for my nephew and a house. I don't regret it or anything, but it has and does require a lot of sacrifice. Just 1 month after taking in my nephew, we found out that my girlfriend was pregnant, and this pregnancy was unplanned and was going to bring more financial burden on us. Some of my friends suggested aborting the child, but my girlfriend and I were not ready to take the life of our own child, so we decided to keep it. Despite the financial strain, we tried to manage things, but it was becoming difficult day by day. When my parents and siblings came to know about it, they offered to help us financially, but we refused because we didn't want to be a burden on them. However, despite our refusal, my parents and siblings helped us in subtle ways. Whenever they visit us, they bring expensive but useful gifts for our children and us. We are always grateful for all their help. This summer, my nephew wanted to go to a sleepaway camp for 6 weeks, but I could only afford 2 weeks, even though there was a 3-week minimum. I talked to the camp and asked them to give me some time to arrange money for the 3rd week. My nephew left last week, and the next day the camp called me and said someone wanted to sponsor Liam for the whole summer and that I did not need to worry. When I asked who, they said that a pair of angels heard of my hardship and wanted to help out. I asked them to get me to meet the couple. They said the couple wanted to help anonymously. I said I wouldn't even consider it unless they told me who was paying for it. Due to my insistence, eventually, they said it was the parents of a boy, Oliver, 10, who is a classmate of my nephew. I asked the camp to arrange a meeting with them. Before the camp could arrange a meeting, I discovered that they were my former employers. I had worked for them for more than 5 years. While they have been involved in charity work, the negative aspect is that I overheard them saying nasty things about the people they helped, not just once, but many times. Therefore, I decided not to accept help from them. I reached out to them and said that my finances are none of their business, and I'm not their charity case. They were taken aback by my response and asked me to think of my nephew. I said they didn't need to worry about my nephew. I would manage our expenses as I have been. For the record, Liam has a fun summer planned out, which includes many playdates and trips with his cousins. His other uncle is taking him to Legoland in a couple of weeks. He's not working in the mines this summer. So, AITAH, for telling the couple that I'm not their charity case? OP is absolutely not an AH. What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. AITAH for choosing my grandpa over my entitled stepdad to walk me down the aisle at my wedding. My 24-year-old female's biological father passed away when I was 4 months old, and my mom, Eleanor, now 48, married a man, Henry, now 49. I called my stepdad Dad for most of my life, but I was never considered equal to his biological kids. This caused me emotional pain and confusion throughout my life. Recently, I got married, and I asked my biological grandpa to walk me down the aisle, which upset my stepdad. After the wedding, he confronted me because I didn't consider him my father. When I brought up that he always called his stepdaughter, why should I treat him like my father? My stepdad got angry and said that I was being nitpicky. I promptly replied that I was not. Instead, he was a hypocrite for treating me as not a daughter, but expecting to be treated as a dad. Background: my biological father passed away when I was just 4 months old. After 1 year of his passing, my mom met my stepdad. They got married after a 2-year relationship. I called my stepdad Dad for most of my life, and he is the only dad I ever knew. I have no memories of my life without him. I would say that for most of my life, I saw him as my dad and not my stepdad. He was the male figure who raised me. However, I was never considered equal to his biological kids, and always treated me as if I were inferior to his biological children. My stepdad used to refer to me as his stepdaughter when asked how many kids he had. I have always heard him say this since I was a kid, despite the fact that I always called him Dad, and my mom and him my parents. It hurt a lot when I was younger. My younger sister was often called my first baby girl by him, and my younger brother was called his firstborn. While technically they are his first biological son and daughter, I was always expected to treat him like my real dad. He never claimed me as his real daughter. However, things started to change for me when I was 16. One of my school friends, Owen, who is now my husband, called my stepdad, and I didn't correct him. When my stepdad overheard, he reached out to my mom and told her that he was hurt that I didn't correct my friend when he relegated my stepdad to a lesser title. They called me to discuss it with me. When asked, I told my stepdad that I was his stepdaughter most of the time, so why shouldn't he be my stepdad? He remained angry with me, but things normalized after some days. My stepdad was still good to me. Some things really hurt when I was younger, and some things upset me when I was older, like the incident above. I did talk to him and my mom about it, and I was gaslighted into believing he didn't say stepdaughter, or he'd say that sometimes it's important to distinguish. I always felt like it would have been easier if he had been consistent with "not my kid" for me. At least then, I wouldn't have been so confused and hurt as a younger kid. My biological grandparents have noticed all of this. I think what caught their attention the most was when I was 8 years old and worried that I couldn't be my stepdad's real daughter, and I asked him to adopt me, but he changed the subject. My stepdad's parents and 2 siblings were also there, and they looked shocked that I had asked. My grandpa wanted me to move in with him, but he avoided asking my mom and stepdad because he didn't want to create drama. Another reason was that he was not rich enough to cover all of my expenses. However, he always gave me emotional support, and the same was true from my side. Last month, I got married and asked my grandpa to walk me down the aisle. This upset my stepdad, but he didn't say anything at the time. However, last week, after returning from our honeymoon, when my husband and I visited my mom, my stepdad brought this up and said that he was hurt. I asked if he was the only person in the family who gets hurt, and that others have no feelings, and I asked him why he always treated me like an outsider. He got up angrily and said that I was being nitpicky, and I promptly replied that I was not nitpicky. Instead, he was a hypocrite for treating me as not a daughter, but expecting to be treated as a dad. He told me I didn't know the meaning of the word, and that I should be more appreciative of all the things he had given me. A small talk soon turned into a heated argument, but I didn't want it to continue, so I left without having dinner. My mom has called me 10 to 15 times since then and requested me to sort things out with my stepdad, but I refused. She says I am the AH for messing all this up. So, am I the ass? What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries. Am I the jerk for not helping my daughter-in-law during her pregnancy because she doesn't allow me to stay in their home? Hi guys, welcome to MacReddit, where tales are not just told, they come alive. As always, today I have brought a very interesting Reddit story for you. I hope you will enjoy it. And don't forget to show your love. Your love gives me energy. Let's dive into the story. My son married a girl named Emma last year. She is now pregnant and about to give birth. In Emma's culture, it is customary for family members, mostly women, to take care of household chores like cooking, cleaning, and shopping for a few weeks after someone gives birth. This tradition is meant to pamper the new mom and ensure she has plenty of rest and bonding time. My daughter-in-law is not close to her family, so I was asked to come up for a few weeks to help out. My son will be back on call a week and a half after she gives birth. As my son and his wife live 2 states over, I was supposed to travel to their house. While discussing the logistics of the situation, when I asked where I would sleep, she told me that I would need to book a hotel. I was surprised by this, as they own a nice home. After careful consideration, I have decided not to proceed with this arrangement. I was already planning to provide a significant favor by becoming a live-in maid. I had intended to use all my PTO for this, and now I will also have to stay in a hotel. This is not a culture that I am familiar with. I told her that I won't be able to visit for the duration she wanted if I have to stay in a hotel. I'm willing to come for a weekend at most if I can't stay in their home. I received a call from my son, and he is upset. He informed me that his wife has been crying ever since, and that I am being disrespectful. He accused me of disrespecting her culture and excluding her from the family. He believes that I have the means to afford it, which I do, but I refuse to pay thousands of dollars to be hired as a maid. We got into an argument. I explained my points, but he wasn't having it. So I finally hung up the call saying, "Ask Emma's mother to come to look after her daughter and make her stay at a hotel." So, AITAH? OP is not an AH. Rather, his son and daughter-in-law are AH. The story is very interesting but not complete. I think OP could add more details. What do the MacReddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to MacReddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.